ब्रह्मा गुरु विष्णुः गुरुदेवो महेश्वरः गुरु साक्षात् परब्रह्मा गुरु साक्षात् परब्रह्मा तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः श्री गुरवे नमः. Owing our sincere pranams to all the gurus who are behind all these kala prakaras. ಗುರುಲೇಖ ಎಟುವಂಟಿ ಗುಣಿಕಿ ತಿಳಿಯಕಬೋದು ಅಂದಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಹಿರಿಯರು. ಗುರುಕೃಪಲೇಖ ಶ್ರೀ ಹರಿಕೃಪಾ ಗಲ್ಗುಣ. Without the blessings of Guru, even Harikrupa won't come to our blessings, is what our ancestors and our elder Vagyakaras have said. But owing our sincere pranams to both Hari and Guru, we have reached this valedictory function, this event, by the blessings of Almighty and all our ancestors. Ladies and gentlemen, Samskrti Foundation made a sincere attempt to present a glimpse of all the 64 kala prakaras. Bharatiya Sanatana Parampariya ಒಂದು ದೊಡ್ಡ ಆಸ್ತಿ ಎಂದೇ ಪರಿಗಣಿಸಲ್ಪಡುವಂಥ 64 ಕಲಾ ಪ್ರಕಾರಗಳ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಬೆಳಕು ಚೆಲ್ಲುವಂಥ ಒಂದು ಪ್ರಾಮಾಣಿಕ ಪ್ರಯತ್ನವನ್ನು ಈ 2 ದಿನಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಸಂಸ್ಕೃತಿ ಪ್ರತಿಷ್ಠಾನ ಈ ರಾಷ್ಟ್ರೀಯ ಮಟ್ಟದ ಒಂದು ವಿಚಾರ ಸಂಕಿರಣದಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾಡಿದೆ. At this seminar, we had the chance to immerse ourselves in the diverse world of the 64 arts, gaining insights into traditional forms of dance, music, ancient sciences, and much more. It not just was an educational experience, but also to a celebration of our heritage and an opportunity to connect with the deep-rooted traditions that continue to shape Indian culture and our culture individually. ಈ ಒಂದು ಪ್ರಾಮಾಣಿಕ ಪ್ರಯತ್ನಕ್ಕೆ ಸಾಕ್ಷಿಯಾಗಿ ಮತ್ತು ಜೊತೆಯಾಗಿ ತಾವೆಲ್ಲ ಇದ್ದೀರಿ. ಇದೀಗ ಆ ಯಶಸ್ಸಿನ ಒಂದು ಸಮಾರೋಪದ ಭಾಗಕ್ಕೆ ನಾವು ಬಂದಿದ್ದೇವೆ. ಆನ್ ಬಿಹಾಫ್ ಆಫ್ ಸಂಸ್ಕೃತಿ ಫೌಂಡೇಶನ್, I would extend a warm welcome to our Honorable Member of Parliament, Rajya Sabha, Shri L. Hanumantaya sir, for this valedictory event. ಸಮಾರೋಪ ಸಮಾರಂಭಕ್ಕೆ ಆಗಮಿಸಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಮುತ್ಸದ್ದಿ ರಾಜಕಾರಣಿ, ಜನಪರ ಚಿಂತನೆಗಳಿಂದ ಮತ್ತು ಜನಪರ ಯೋಜನೆಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಜೊತೆಯಾಗಿ ಆ ಕೈಂಕರ್ಯದಲ್ಲಿ ಭಾಗಿಯಾಗಿ ಎಲ್ ಹನುಮಂತಯ್ಯ ಅವರ ಕೊಡುಗೆ ಈ ನಾಡಿಗೆ ಬಹಳ ಮಹತ್ತರವಾಗಿರುವಂಥದ್ದು. ಇಂಥ ರಾಜಕಾರಣಿಗಳು ಮತ್ತು ರಾಜಕೀಯ ಧುರೀಣರು ಮತ್ತು ಜನಪರ ಚಿಂತನೆ ಉಳ್ಳಂಥವರು ಈ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮದಲ್ಲಿ ಇರುವಂಥದ್ದು ಸಂಸ್ಕೃತಿ ಪ್ರತಿಷ್ಠಾನದ ಒಂದು ಸೌಭಾಗ್ಯ ಅಂತ ಭಾವಿಸಿ ಅವರಿಗೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಆತ್ಮೀಯ ಸ್ವಾಗತವನ್ನು ಈ ಸಮಾರೋಪ ಸಮಾರಂಭಕ್ಕೆ ನಾವು ನೀಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇವೆ. ಮತ್ತೊಮ್ಮೆ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ ಮತ್ತು ಹನುಮಂತಯ್ಯ ಅವರಿಗೆ ಆತ್ಮೀಯ ಸ್ವಾಗತವನ್ನು ಕೋರ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇವೆ. We have with us Director General of National Productivity Council, Government of India, New Delhi, Shri S. Gopalakrishnan sir, IAS officer, has served in various cadres and various departments, who is himself an art lover and very fitting to this position and post. National Productivity Council ಈ ಒಂದು ಇಂಥದ್ದೊಂದು ಅಥವಾ ದೇಶದ ಈ ಕಲಾ ಪ್ರಕಾರಗಳಿಗೆ ಒಂದು ಬೆನ್ನೆಲುಬಾಗಿ ನಿಲ್ಲೋ ಅಂಥ ಸಂಸ್ಥೆಯಾಗಿದ್ದು ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಟರ್ ಜನರಲ್ ಆಗಿ ಇವರು ಸೇವೆ ಸಲ್ಲಿಸ್ತಾ ಇರುವಂಥದ್ದು. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಈ ಸಮಾರಂಭಕ್ಕೆ ವೆರಿ ಆ್ಯಪ್ಟ್ ಚಾಯ್ಸ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ವೆರಿ apt presence of Gopalakrishnan sir. Thank you so much for being with us and gracing the occasion, sir. Once again, warm welcome on behalf of Samskrti Foundation and all the connoisseurs present here. We also have Senior Vice President of ISKCON, Shri Vasudev Keshav Das ji, as distinguished guest amongst us. And I don't think anybody here requires a special introduction about either ISKCON or its what should we say, the service to the mankind, and this is possible, or this level of quality and quality of service is possible because of presence of people and mind and heart like Vasudev Keshav Das ji. And it's a great honor for Samskrti Pratishtana to have somebody like a divine presence of Vasudev Keshav Das ji. Thank you so much for coming and gracing the occasion and being with us and witnessing this valedictory. So thank you so much. And ನಮ್ಮವರೇ ಆದಂಥ ಸಂಸ್ಕೃತಿ ಪ್ರತಿಷ್ಠಾನದ ಅಧ್ಯಕ್ಷರಾದಂಥ ಪ್ರೊಫೆಸರ್ ಎಸ್ ದ್ವಾರಕಾದಾಸ್ ಅವರು ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮದಲ್ಲಿ ನಮ್ಮೊಂದಿಗಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಮ್ಯಾನ್ ಹೂ ನೀಡ್ಸ್ no introduction because he is the Pratishtana, and Pratishtana is because of people like Dwarkadas ji. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us again, and I have to welcome on his behalf also to all of you. So thank you so much, sir. Welcome to you too. And we have with us Shri Alvar ji, yet another person who needs no introduction, and who has been in the limelight since yesterday, and who has been a major pillar and backbone of the entire event and whatever is happening and whatever goodness that we are carrying through this event and from this event for our benefit. Thanks to Shri Alvarji on behalf of all of you for his kind presence and everything that he is doing for the benefit of mankind and this program's success. May I now request Dr. M.A. Alvarji from Samskrti Foundation to kindly present his valedictory address.
Hastodhyacchankhachakrambujagadammamalam pītakausheyavasam vidyotadbhasamudyadinakarasadrisham padmasamstham namami. First of all, I would like to offer my salutations to the dignitaries on the stage as well as those who are adorning this august audience here at the Multivision Theatre of ISKCON, Bangalore. I am standing before you here to fulfill a formality. Generally, every seminar has a valedictory session and there has to be a valedictory address. Today, we were supposed to have the valedictory address by Shri Tejasvi Surya ji, who is the MP and also a scholar. But unfortunately, he had to rush to Delhi due to certain commitments. We all know how busy MPs are. And therefore, I am standing here before you to fulfill this formality of delivering a valedictory address. So I need not say much about the 64 arts of India. We have been listening to it by several stalwarts and connoisseurs and practitioners of many of these 64 art forms. I would like to conclude this seminar by saying a few words, or what we call tying up some loose ends that need to be tied up. Today we had a discussion what is an art and what is a science. And one exposition given by one scholar was science is always objective, whereas art is always subjective. Partially it is true, but not always. There is science in art and there is art in science. We all know that. And science itself is an art and art itself is a science. And when we talk about subjectivity and objectivity, there is subjectivity in objectivity and there is objectivity in subjectivity. So it's almost like a paradox. And when we come to the art forms themselves, we have several varied forms. We have intellectual arts, we have societal arts, we have performing arts. So many types of arts that have been put together and actually given as a one whole of consisting of several different types of parts. When we talk about intellectual arts, one of the very important arts is answering a question or actually answering a challenge in a very, very similar manner. This is also supposed to be an art. I would like to give, being a person who has studied Sanskrit and who has treasured the greatness of Sanskrit, I would like to give one example which was not given by any of the scholars yesterday or today. So once Kalidasa, the most celebrated poet of classical Sanskrit literature, was with Bhojaraja, and Bhojaraja was so impressed with Kalidasa that, and rightly so, because Kalidasa was the best, he was the crown jewel among the poets. So he asked Kalidasa to adorn a position where he will actually encourage poets. Only poets can encourage poets. Only scholars can encourage scholars. Because they will know the intrinsic value. No one else knows. That is why it says, Vidvaneva vijanati vidvajjana parishrama. And Bhojaraja always wanted to encourage Sanskrit poetry. And so he said, but he did not have the time, being the king, or though he was the king, he was also a great poet. But though he was a poet, he was also the king. So he could not study all the poetry that came to him. So he had asked Kalidasa to actually monitor the poetry that were done or composed by poets and then bring it to him so that he could reward them. But we all know that there are quacks in this world in any field. And one such quack was an ordinary poet called Shatananda. He did not know that Kalidasa was the person who would actually monitor the poetry that was given, that was supposed to be given to Bhojaraja. So he composed a poetry and sent it to Bhojaraja. It was like this. Apashabda shatam maghe bharavaucha shatatrayam Kalidase naganyante kavireka shatanjaya. So we know Magha Kavya, the great Kavi Magha, who has composed Shishupalavadha. And this Shatanjaya said, Apashabda shatam maghe. There are 100 grammatically incorrect words in Magha's Kavya. And when you refer to Bharavi, another great Mahakavi who has authored the great Kirata Arjuniya, there are 300 mistakes. And when it comes to Kalidasa, there are innumerable mistakes, a countless number of mistakes. So, Kalidase na ganyante. Then who is the right poet? Who is the poet who can compose correct poetry, which is correct in all respects? Because in Kavya Prakasha, there is a lot of definitions about how to employ alankaras, how to employ chandas, how to employ various other factors like rasa, bhava, paka, etc. So when you take all these into considerations, he said, I am the only poet, kavirekaha shatanjayaha. I am the only poet who can compose proper poetry. Magha has 100 mistakes, Kalidasa has 100 mistakes, Bharavi has 300, Kalidasa innumerable mistakes. So I am the only poet. Then it went to Kalidasa. Kalidasa saw it. Then immediately he became aware of the intention of Shatanjaya. He said, this shloka is as follows. Apashabda shatam maghe bharavaucha shatatrayam Kalidase na ganyante kavireka shatanjaya. Fine, this shloka is all fine. There is a small mistake here. Instead of apashabda shatam maghe, it should be apashabda shatam maghe. One small dirgha is missing. And he inserted that dirgha and sent it. What is the meaning? Apashabda shatam maghe. So he borrowed 100 words from Magha. Bharavaucha shatatrayam apa. He borrowed 300 words from Bharavi. And how many words he borrowed from Kalidasa, nobody knows. This is Shatanjaya. So to reply in the same way with a minor change, this is also one of the very, very important intellectual arts. In Sanskrit, you have a beautiful work called Sita Ravana Samvadachari. So in that, it's a beautiful kavya. Yesterday we were talking about Raghava Yadaviyam and things like that. So in that, Ravana tells something in the form of a verse. Then Sita will just answer it by saying, Viparitam Patha. So when it's read from behind, upside down, the entire meaning changes. And in some places, hrasvam dirgham kuru, dirgham hrasvam kuru. Just by altering one syllable, the entire meaning will change, just as we saw in the shloka. So these are the types of arts in which our forefathers were experts. Then, as we all know, as Professor Dwarkadasa mentioned yesterday, metallurgy is an art. And I happened to study a few shlokas of metallurgy, a work called Rasaratnakara, which mentions about how to convert base metal into gold, which is a great art. It's a great science. It's a great art. And when I studied the first few shlokas, I was actually taken aback, and it was as if I am studying some text belonging to Yoga Shastra. Because the first 10 shlokas are devoted to the, the greatness of the Guru. So unless the Guru teaches you, you will not be able to master Rasa Shastra. Like that, we have several different types of arts, performing arts, etc., etc. We have as one more thing I would like to mention in this context is, how can Chaurya become an art? When we had a press conference in Mysore a week ago, when Professor Nagaraj Rao was mentioning about the 64 arts, a veteran journalist stood up and asked, "Sir, you are telling Chaurya is also a kala, that kala is meant to be inculcated. So would you recommend people to practice stealing? Would you recommend people to practice burglary? What is it that our forefathers had in mind?" And Professor Nagaraj Rao gave a very beautiful answer. He said, there is a word called Pashyato Hara in Sanskrit. That means he will steal even as you are seeing in broad daylight. What is it that one can steal when you are seeing? Suppose I have 500 rupees in my pocket. When I am seeing, can anybody steal it? No. What that can be stolen even while you are seeing is your heart can be stolen. So the Chaurya Kala that is mentioned in the 64 arts is the art of stealing the hearts of people. That is why there is a beautiful statement in Sanskrit. Bahavaha guravas santi shishya vittapaharakaha. Today when we go to several ashrams, with due regards to the honest ones, they look at the money and other things of the people. So, bahavo guravas santi shishya vittapaharakaha. Durlabha guravo loke shishya chittapaharakaha. There are only a few people in this world, they are gurus, who can steal your heart. And in Sanskrit, for those who know Sanskrit, they can beautifully understand Shishya Chittapaharakaha and Shishya Chit Tapaharakaha. Not only they will they will steal your mind, they will also steal the tapa, the dukkha, the misery that is there in your heart and grant you salvation. And this is also one of the arts where you can change one word, Shishya Chittapaharaka, Shishya Vittapaharaka. And the Indians were great masters, as I said. And among all the Indians, as it was remarked by a great person today, the only person, past, present and future, who had mastered all the 64 arts was none other than Lord Krishna himself. Because practically it is impossible for anybody to master all these 64 arts because they are so varied, vast and wide. And it is in the fitness of things that we have conducted this 64 arts seminar just below the feet of Lord Krishna. And we hope that in our lifetime we will be able to imbibe at least 3, 4, 5, 6 or 10 or 12 kalas and attain fulfillment. And we all know that Lord Krishna is also known as Kalanatha. I don't want to go into Vedanta because that's a huge area. So it says Shodasha Kalaf Purusha. So the Purusha, this Lord Krishna has Shodasha Kalas. And the Jivatma, etc. are also one of these kalas. So he is the owner of all the Jivatmas. He is the master of all the Jivatmas. That way also he can be called as Kalanatha. And to be very honest, I would like to confess that our attempt has been a very poor or very primitive attempt, because many people asked, how many, can you showcase all the 64 arts? I said, we are attempting to showcase only 20 or 22 arts. Because how is Krishi, agriculture, an art form? Nobody has looked at it as an art. And one of the few persons who looked at it from the point of view of art was my revered father, Professor Lakshmi Tatacharya, who tried to show how agriculture can also be an art. I will not go into details. For example, in Sanskrit, in the Sanskrit works of agriculture and horticulture, there are examples of mango trees that can give a yield throughout the year. And you would be astounded to know that there is reference to a mango tree, a type of mango tree, which can yield mangoes of different tastes in a single tree in different branches. So you can have raspberry mango in one branch, you can have badami mango in one branch, you can have Malgova mango in one branch, and you can have Neelam in one branch. This is an art really actually. How can you grow mangoes of different tastes in a single tree? That is really an art. But you have to go so deep to study it as an art. Otherwise it will remain just a vocation, not an art. So we have a very, very long way to traverse. And hopefully, by the grace of God, we will touch the pinnacle of at least 1 or 2 or 3 arts. And we thought that it is our duty to at least document all the 64 art forms, and when we started doing it, we encountered different versions, because there is a different version in Mahabharata, there is a different version in Shukraniti Sara, there is a different version in Jayamangala commentary of Kama Sutra. So we tried to integrate and standardize them, and we have been fairly successful. Experts have to guide us further. And we also thought that it is in the fitness of things that we should also showcase at least a few of these arts. And I think we have been partially successful or fully successful. It is for the audience to decide, because we are the organizers and we cannot stand in judgment on our own work. But I am very proud and glad to say that we have been joined by several stalwarts in various fields, and they have all presented their art forms in the best possible manner within the limited time, because when I was just listening to each of the presentations, I felt that there need to be 2 days continuously fully to depict the depth of each one of these arts. If you take Natya, you can do a workshop for 20 days or 1 month or 1 year also, because it's so vast. If you take agriculture, it is the same. If you take horticulture, it is the same. If you take Britkriya, pottery, a huge amount of information is there. So it's all, every art is like an ocean in itself. But our knowledge and our time resources and other resources are so limited that it's difficult even to get a glimpse of all these things. So I hope we have been able to provide the audience with a glimpse of a very limited number of arts, about 20 or 21. And I hope this endeavor will be taken forward by several other organizations. We have just started the process, and I don't know whether we have the capacity to take it forward and teach it, because in every town, every city or every district headquarters, we have to spread word about the 64 arts of India, because only the name is known to people, that to a limited number of people. So organizations like ISKCON would be well equipped, well prepared to take forward these initiatives. And any organization that is willing to take forward this initiative, we are with them to cooperate with them and also join hands with them and then take it forward. And finally, before I end, I would like to thank the National Culture Fund, Ministry of Culture, for supporting this activity. More than anything, I am extremely thankful to the authorities of ISKCON, Sri Madhu Pandit Prabhuji, Sri Vasudev Keshav Prabhuji, and all the other senior personnel and also junior personnel who have actually put in efforts day and night to facilitate having this auditorium, making food arrangements, giving this auditorium free of cost, then giving the guest house, because today we know how difficult it is to traverse from one place to another in Bangalore. So 90% of the credit of this seminar should go to ISKCON only, and I am extremely grateful to them. And we are extremely grateful to Sri S. Gopalakrishnan ji, who has been supportive of our organization for the last several years. He is a source of inspiration for us to undertake any activity, any project. He says he gives his valuable advice, and wherever he can help us, in all ways he keeps helping us. So we have no words to express. If I say thank you, it is an understatement. So I will just say Namo Namaha and convey my gratitude to him. And as I mentioned yesterday, we are very grateful to have the support of various persons, various eminent persons. And one such person is Sri Hanmantaya ji, who has come here. Actually, I would like to say sorry because I could not personally go and invite him. Even though I spoke to him over phone, he was magnanimous enough to come and grace this function. We are very, very happy to have a member of the Parliament, Rajya Sabha, grace this occasion. And finally, as I mentioned yesterday, we have Professor Dwarka Dasa, the backbone of the organization, to guide us. He has been encouraging in any activity that we take that is associated with our culture, heritage, etc. So I thank him all, and I thank all of you, because there is a saying, Shateshu jayate shuraha, sahasreshu cha panditaha, vakta dasha sahasreshu, shrota bhavati vanuva. Among one shura, a very valorous person is born 1 in 100. And if you need a scholar, only one person you can get in many thousands. That also is difficult nowadays. Vakta dasha sahasreshu. If you need a very good orator, you get only 1 in 10,000. But today the main problem is shrotas. There are no audience. We publish several books, but there are no readers. We give lectures, there are no listeners. We conduct programs, there are no audience. But today, thanks to Purna Pramati School and the efforts of several persons, we are having a very good, very well-informed audience. I thank you all for being present here and encouraging us. Only when we see the audience, we are inspired to take up good programs like these. So with these words, I end my valedictory address. Thank you very much to everybody. Namah Paramarishibhyo, Namah Paramarishibhyaha.
Thank you so much for reinforcing the ideology and intention of this seminar throughout, sir. Thank you so much again. ಈಗಾಗಲೇ ಅವರ ಮಾತಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳಿರೋ ಹಾಗೆ ಹನುಮಂತಯ್ಯ ಅವರು ಈ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮಕ್ಕೆ ಬರುವಂಥ ಒಂದು ಮಹದುಪಕಾರವನ್ನು ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ರಾಜ್ಯಸಭಾ ಸದಸ್ಯರಾಗಿ ಈ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕದ ದನಿಯಾಗಿ ಇರೋವಂಥವ್ರು ಹನುಮಂತಯ್ಯ ಅವರು 2 ಮಾತುಗಳನ್ನ ಆಡಬೇಕು ಈ ಸಭೆಯನ್ನು ಉದ್ದೇಶಿಸಿ ಅಂತ ಕೋರಿಕೆ.
Samskrti Foundation, Mysuru, and NCF, National Cultural Fund, Ministry of Culture, Government of India, under the auspices of these 2 organizations, the seminar on the Bharatiya 64 arts. So I am thinking that this august audience, I am fortunate to be here, part of this program. This valedictory address, which was given by Dr. Alvarji, was excellent, as you all heard of it. It was excellent in its own kind. And Sri S. Gopalakrishnan ji, who has come from Delhi to this function, and it shows his interest in this kind of activities and this kind of thinking in the society. Sri Professor E.S. Dwarka Dasa ji, Shri Keshavadas ji, and all the learned audience of this beautiful evening valedictory function of the national seminar. I was thinking before coming here, what is my necessity here? How I will be useful to the audience of this function. My humble beginning from a village has taught me many arts without any gurus. I learnt from a government school, traveled across from a small village to Bengaluru. I did my BSc graduation in Government Science College. Then I took a turn towards literature. I did my MA in Bangalore University and my doctorate in Mysore University in Kannada literature. I myself is a poet in Kannada, where my poetry is text in almost all universities of Karnataka. As a poet, I am lover of all kinds of arts. There is no discrimination for me. I love them because it is the life of our people. An art, whichever is the form, you cannot differentiate that art from the life of the people of this country. Many arts has not been taught by any gurus. It is generated by the people of their own while they were working in the fields, working in different kinds of activities, what they are engaged. It is directly connected with their sweat. That is the beautiful art of India. That is where I believe it. Of all the mythological gods you call, characters you call, personality you call, I love Krishna for that beautiful reason that he is master of all arts, as Alvar said. I love him because of that. Even when he was having so many opportunities to be treated in the palace, he selects Vidura's house, who is the poorest of that region. He prefers to go to his house, not a guest of Duryodhana or the king. That is Krishna. He protects Draupadi when she was in a great distress. He protects her as a human being, not as a god. He protects her because he respects the human dignity. Human dignity is the greatest value of all the arts, all the literature, and all the preachings of all Mahatmas. Without human dignity, anything cannot be respected. Any big thing, any great ideology, any great preaching, without human dignity, it cannot be respected, and I don't do that. For that reason, I love Krishna, for so many other reasons also. And today, in the modern world, of course, Indians are respected across the world for their legacy. They are not respected for their present values, for their legacy in their past. It is true, Indians are respected for the human values, not for the other things. But today, I am deeply worried, and I wanted to express this in an organization, in a seminar of a great minds. I wanted to express it. These human beings should not be differentiated on the basis of religion. They should not be the layers on the basis of religion, and no human being, whoever on the earth, whether he works in an office or in a field or in a common pond, he should be respected. She should be respected. I am worried that is not being done today in this society. Everybody, every mythological teaching and every piece of literature cries for the human values. They cry in every word that human value has to be respected. But most unfortunate, our society is not respecting that cry of the human value. I sincerely request any kind of art, literature, and any ideological discussion, all that is fine, fantastic. We should have that discourse. We should have that interaction. We should always have exchange of opinion. I may agree with you, I may not agree with you, but I must be a listener to your voice. And you must be listener to my dissent. That is the very, very, very important thing in the democracy today. When there was no concept of democracy, the different voices were heard. There was a discussion. There was a quarrel, but there was no violence. But today, just for I am having a difference with you, I don't like your idea of living, and you don't my idea of living. We just not quarrel each other. We just not exchange our ideas. We just not listen to each other ideas, but we kill them. No religion on the earth, in the universe, has taught any human being to kill another human being where he has no right to kill anybody or to put him under great agony. Today, what is happening in the world? The children are being killed without any mercy. I am so worried about that. I cannot see the news channels. As a human being, I cannot look at it. What is happening? What is our religion teaching us? Any religion for that matter. What is that teaches so far? Thousands of years we have heard, we have learned, we have studied, we have made researches on that. What is all that has taught us? Is it the violence? It is not. This is what I wanted to share with you. But I expect this kind of seminars, this kind of research papers, these kind of intellectuals will definitely tell the world that violence is not the astra of any human being. It should not become an astra for us. We should always think everybody should live peacefully. Live and let live should be our mantra. We should allow others to live, and we should also live peacefully. I should not be disturbed by others, as well I should not disturb others. Nobody should kill me or my kids, but I also should not kill other families, other human beings. That should be the mantra of all arts, literature in the world. That should be our mantra. At least from these kind of forums, I expect this a very, very compassionate.
नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधारा श्रीवासादि गौरभक्त वृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. Very happy to be present here amidst this august gathering with distinguished and important guests on the dais. My respects to everyone here. Dr. Alvar spoke very aptly giving wonderful examples, quoting the Sanskrit shlokas, telling us how great these 64 arts of India are. And both Dr. Alvar and Dr. Hanumantayaji, MP of Rajya Sabha, very happy to hear that both of them expressed their love and devotion for Lord Shri Krishna, expressing that they like Lord Krishna because Lord Krishna is the only personality who actually mastered all these 64 arts. And Hanumantayaji expressed some very valid concerns about human dignity, which is very important for all of us to take cognizance of. And we hope that if we immerse ourselves in these 64 arts, especially keeping in mind that the origin of these 64 arts is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, then we'll also be able to cleanse our heart with all the ignorance, with all the dirt, with all the impurity that is sitting deep within us. We all heard how Lord Shri Krishna learnt all these 64 arts. Actually, it is said in the scriptures that in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna himself says, Aham sarvasya prabhavo matta sarvam pravartate. Everything is coming out of me. So the owner of these 64 arts is actually Lord Krishna. But when Krishna descended to this planet, and when he went for his formal training and education to the ashram of Sandipani Muni, there was no need for Krishna to accept a teacher, because he himself is the teacher, he himself is the origin of everything. But nevertheless, he did that just to set an example for others to follow. So he went and he learned all the 64 arts in the ashram of Sandipani. There were many other teachers also who were teaching him, he being the main guru. And you will be surprised to know, in the Srimad Bhagavatam it is mentioned, like Dr. Alvar was saying, how much time it takes for us to learn. Today maybe, like as he said, 5, 10, 15. I think today it's very difficult to find someone who has mastered even a handful of arts, 1 or 2 or 3 arts. Learning Natya, learning Nritya, learning Kavya is not such an easy thing. But Lord Krishna learned all the 64 arts in just 64 days. He would go in the morning to the ashrama. The teachers would start teaching him, and because he's God, he's so sharp and intelligent, all throughout the day would be his learning, and by the end of the day, he would become an expert in that art. This is Lord Shri Krishna. So, One of the art that was mentioned here, today morning it seems it has taken place, is the art of worshipping God. And this is one art of worshipping God that we were taught as ISKCON devotees by our Guru A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, and that was on the basis of the Narada Pancharatra Vidhi. Our worship of God begins early in the morning. In our ISKCON temples, we all wake up by 3:30 in the morning, and 4 o'clock is the first worship that is offered to Lord Krishna. It's called Jagarana Seva with Balya Bhoga offering, and then we start the worship at 4:30 with the first Arati. And all throughout the day, from 4:30 in the morning till 9:30 in the night, we offer different kinds of worship to Lord Krishna, which include bhoga, arati, archana, and different mantras and different chanting and all these things. It goes on from morning till night. But Srila Prabhupada taught us one very important element in this art of worshipping God, which is one of the art. And I think that this element that Srila Prabhupada taught us, which we all have to remember, is not just for worshipping God, but it is for anything that we do. And what is that element that we must all possess while doing anything, especially in worshipping of God? When we talk of archana, worshipping God, the art of worshipping God, it involves a lot of mantras, lot of cleanliness, timeliness, punctuality. But the one thing, very important element, I would like to mention this with the help of a story. This is a real story. It is a story of Alarnath. It happened in about a few centuries ago in a temple near Jagannath Puri, about 25 kilometers away from Jagannath Puri. There's a place called Brahmagiri. There is an Alarnath temple. Alarnath means the Lord of the Alvars. That's why it's called Alarnath. So there used to live a person, a priest, a pujari, who would worship God every day with his mantras, with his Vedic chanting. And one day, he had to leave that village and go to another village. He would stay in this village, Alarnath. He had to go to another village for some work. So now the Lord has to be worshipped every day. Who will worship the Lord in his absence? So he had a small boy, Madhu, and he calls his boy and tells his son, "My dear son, please, I am going out for 3 days, and for the next 3 days I want you to worship God." And he gave him some few simple mantras. You chant this mantra and you must offer food to God, because one of the important elements of worship is God must be offered naivedya, food every day. Chant these mantras and offer it to God. So his father's name was Sri Ketana, he left. And next day morning, the mother did all the cooking, and then the mother called out his son, Madhu, and he said, "Madhu, now you must offer this food to God. Please begin your worship." So Madhu was given a plate and all the bhoga items, banana leaf. So he goes to the deity room. Alarnath is standing there, the stone deity, and he places the banana leaf and places all the items, the rice, the dal, the sabji, the chapati, and all these things, and he places, and some kheer. And now when he starts his worship to offer the food, he forgets the mantra. Father had taught him one mantra. He forgets it. So he just says to the Lord, "Lord, please accept the food and on my behalf." And he prays to the Lord and he goes away. And he goes to play. And then after playing, after about 15 minutes, he comes back and he's shocked. Why is he shocked? He sees that the food on the plate, on the banana leaf, is lying as it is. He was expecting the food to disappear because he's offered it to God, God must eat. The food is still there. So he said, "God, what is this? You're supposed to eat. Please eat." Like that. and he goes away again. Again he comes for the second time and he sees that the food is still there as it is. And this time tears start flowing from his eyes. He's a small boy. He forgot the mantras, but he has a lot of love and devotion for Krishna in his heart. So this time he prays to Lord Krishna with full of love, humility, devotion. Lord, I'm a small boy. I've forgotten the mantras. I know there are many mistakes in me. I am not perfect, but please, my Lord, please accept my offering. Prasidha, prasidha. Please be pleased with me and accept. So full of love and devotion, Madhu prayed, and he goes out. And third time when he comes, he is very happy. The food has disappeared from the plate. And for Madhu, this is a normal thing. But we know it was not normal. It was something transcendental. So then mother calls Madhu. Madhu, what happened to the offering? The offering time is over. Come. So Madhu comes back to the altar, takes the banana plate, and hands over the empty banana leaf to the mother. So mother says, Madhu, what is this? Mother was shocked. Where are all the food? So Madhu very innocently says, Ma, Alarnath ate it all. Alarnath ate it all? How can this be? This has never happened. Your father has been offering. This has never happened. Yes, Ma. Next day, the same thing repeats. Mother cooks, the entire food has disappeared. Third day, the incident repeats. And Madhu is very happy. Small boy, full of devotion for the Lord. Then the fourth day, the father returns. And for the 3 days that the food disappeared, Madhu and his mother are fasting because there's no food at home. The food has all disappeared, consumed by the Lord completely. So when the father comes, the mother tells the father all these things. And then the father raises his voice as his child. Madhu, what is this? Tell me the truth. Where is the food disappearing? How can the food disappear? How can a stone deity eat? A stone cannot eat, right? So Madhu says innocently, Father, I kept my offerings and the Lord took everything. I don't know. So father says, okay, I have come today. Now you are going to do the same offering and I am going to watch you. How can this happen? So he goes in the altar. Madhu makes his offering. And the father goes and hides behind a pillar in that altar room to see what's going to happen. So Madhu makes his offering, prays very humbly, lovingly, and leaves the puja room because Lord eats in Ekanta. And then father is waiting to see, and he is surprised to see there's a real story that has happened. That the deity, Alarnath, extends his hand, that stone deity extends his hand, and he starts eating. And the father is shocked to see this devotion in his child. And then, when he extends further, the father holds the hand of the deity and he's telling the deity, Alarnath, what are you doing, my lord? If you eat away everything, how will we live? He is still thinking materially. That's the difference. That's the difference in consciousness. That's the difference in the heart. So then the Lord, his father was blessed to have darshan of the Lord. So the Lord tells him, Sri Ketana, I do not accept any offerings if they are not done with faith and devotion. I accept offering only if they are done with bhakti. Your son, although he's a small boy, he's not very educated, he's not very intelligent, but he offered me with full heart, with love and devotion, and that is why I accepted it. So this is exactly what Srila Prabhupada also taught all his devotees, that the offerings that we make, the art of worshipping God, there are a lot of details in the art of worshipping God. We have elaborate mantras, elaborate stutis, elaborate vandanas, many, many prayers, but offering bhakti, love and devotion of Krishna says in the Gita also, Patram pushpam phalam toyam yome bhaktya prayachyati. He accepts a leaf, a flower, a fruit, and a water only if it offered with bhakti, with devotion. To sum it up, to wind up, I would like to quote one shloka which may address the concern of Hanumantaya ji, that how our hearts are unclean. That is the main point that you highlighted. So how do we develop this bhakti? And Alvarji also mentioned his concern that there are hardly any audience. So actually, wherever we are, we have to inculcate, develop this habit of hearing. Like today, all of us, we got together and we heard. So hearing is knowledge. We all gain knowledge by hearing. So if we all get together and hear about God, then in the Bhagavatam it says, Yasyam vai shruya manayam Krishne parama purushe. If we hear about God, Krishna, who is the parama purusha, then 4 things will happen. What are the 4 things? Number 1, bhakti utpadyate pumsam. Bhakti for God, devotion for God will awaken in our heart. And shoka, moha, bhaya, apaha. Shoka, lamentation, moha, illusion, like the difference, you are a different caste, I am a different caste, low, high, all this illusion. And shokam and bhaya, fear in this material world. So all these impurities that are occupying, that our heart has occupied, will all be dispelled, and bhakti will awaken simply by hearing about God. So it is very nice to see that the Samskrti Foundation has organized this. It is definitely, as he said, to demonstrate 64 arts is it's not an easy thing. It's very inspiring to see that in just 2 days they could put together a performance which showcased 20 arts, and that's not an ordinary thing. And more we need this, because this is what preserves our human values, human culture, which are so strongly rooted in our Vedic culture. The only thing that we need to do is that in all these 64 arts, which I'm sure has been done, because as one art was the art of worshipping God, is that we must have an element of God consciousness in our life. God has it is not the Christian God, Hindu God, all gods are one and same. There cannot be any differences between this. God is one, and all good values, virtues rest in Him. We call our God Krishna. So if we contact God by hearing about Him through these 64 arts, somehow if we can connect with God, then all the good values, all the good qualities that God possesses, we will also possess. Just like if you touch a live wire, you will also get the current. So similarly, we have to touch God, because in God lies honesty, truthfulness, humility, forgiveness. All the great values lies in God. So if we touch God by hearing about God, we touch God by hearing Him, then we also get imbibed with all these good qualities. And then the nature of the person, the values inside us, everything will get purified, and we will truly become very gentle, very humble citizens, and this is the need of today. So with this I will end. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much for connecting to the concepts of this seminar and the foundation through highly interesting and enthralling anecdotes. Thank you so much, sir, for your speech with a touch of divinity, of course. Thank you so much for your remarks on this. May I now request Shri S. Gopalakrishnan-ji to kindly address us.
Namaskar. The dignitaries on the dais, Honorable MP, sir, and all fans, connoisseurs, and practitioners. I hope patience will also fall in one of the categories of the 64 arts, because you've been patient for 2 days. So I'll just give a few of my words. Basically, as was discussed, it is not just arts. I mean, today if somebody were to categorize and list, they will call it science, technology, engineering, management, arts, everything. Everything is there. So possibly it was a product of wisdom coming out of ages, experience, and also which addresses the conflict part, which comes out only when things are peaceful and evolved. In a conflict situation, it is difficult to conceive of arts. Wherever we see arts flourishing, they are places which have good fields, good harvest, good kings, etc. Now, it is expected in the olden times that a king, to become a very good king, also has to try his hand at all the 64. And I'm sure not many kings would have sort of come out in flying colors in all the 64. But the idea is, if you have to be a king and if you have to govern your country, you should know about all these arts. I think that is the background about the mix of these 64. Now, coming to think of it, as I was mentioning, it has come over millennia. It is much, much older than what we think. But one problem which we have is, as a group, as a country, as a people, it is natural that many times we lose our own wisdom. I mean, we all know we got independence in 1947. Tyagaraja Swamigal, he died in 1847. So how far it is? It is just about a few hundred years back. Now, in his lifetime, with all these modern times, Tyagaraja is supposed to have composed more than 24,000 compositions. Today, we listen to concerts, we go to programs, we see so much on internet. We don't have more than 700, 800 of his compositions. Tyagaraja composed 20,000 plus, 24,000 plus. Today, we are all enjoying only 700, 800 compositions. Now, this is about something which just happened a few hundred years ago. What was discussed yesterday and today are wisdom of millennia, not even centuries. Now, that is one particular item of work which I'm watching the Samskrti Foundation doing, and I think that is their most significant contribution. If we don't have events like this, if we don't bring it to the people, I mean, I'm sure I also share the concern about the audience, but audience will follow. Today, there are different ways of influencers and taking the knowledge or the wisdom to the people. But we as a group or we as a society should not lose touch with what has been said. Because I was witness to a translation effort where a publication in English was brought out on all the 64 arts. Now, that is one such step. There could be many more such steps where we take the wisdom, we bring it out and put it in a domain which can then be packaged suitably for a young audience. So it is that particular aspect of Samskrti Foundation which I think we are doing human service. This is just one of the areas, and I have been lucky to visit them and see their publications, because it is actually diminishing every day. The available knowledge in either palm leaf or in some other format, it is diminishing every day. So it is a timely exercise to capture it, to digitize it, to translate it, and then to take it forward. So these are the efforts. I'm sure technology is coming in handy, but a lot more to be done, and it is our responsibility. We should not lose our heritage. This is our wisdom of our ancestors, and it has stood the test of time, and it is in our interest to take it. And as far as these 64 arts are concerned, I think we should explore. We should be curious. If there is somebody who can say, I'm not interested in any of the 64, probably he needs counseling. So this is universal. This is like an encyclopedia. There is nobody who will say he is not interested in anything. So there is so much here. There is so much to learn. And I wish to commend Samskrti and all the people involved, including all the practitioners over the 2 days who have shown us a glimpse of what it is. And I wish to convey my sincere appreciation and also wish them best in all such ventures to bring out traditional wisdom to today's audience. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much for that crisp presidential remarks, sir, and thanks again. May I now request Professor Dwarka Das Ji to kindly present out of thanks to the dignitaries on the dais.
Very good evening to all of you. It is our Indian tradition to say thank you to whoever is associated with us in whatever form. So today, the first and foremost person to whom we would like to offer our pranams and gratitude is Lord Krishna, who is the master of Chaturshashti Kalaha, and also so clear that he has presided over the whole function and seen that everything went off very well. We have with us Atithis. We consider them Atithi Devo Bhava. We consider them to be gods. We offer our pranams to all of you, sir. Dr. Hanumantaya, Member of Parliament in the Rajya Sabha, has come all the way to be with us. And not only that, he expressed his inner views. One of them, he said, love Krishna. I think this is a simple little thing for all of us to learn. Then he said, eschew violence. These are two very beautiful things that you have said, sir. And I think we'll propagate it further and see how many of us can practice it. Our gratitude to you, sir, for being present this evening with us today. Thank you very much. Sri Gopalakrishnan, Director of National Productivity Council, I'm sure he'll be thinking in his mind, what is the kind of productivity that we have had in these 2 days? I will assure you, sir, that the translation of our ideas to the audience has been fairly good, because I've interacted with a number of audiences and they said, yes, we have learned so many new things, and that shows us that we've been partly successful. I would like to thank you from the bottom of our hearts for the kind, gracious presence this evening. Pandit Vasudev Keshav Dasa is not new to us. We come to ISKCON so many times and we keep meeting people here and saying hello to everybody. Sometimes we come in the premise of seeing God, but we come and say hello to some of you. Your presence today has added a lot of glitter to the function. The small story that you mentioned indicates that we are always thinking of God in some form or the other. But you also mentioned that some people have greed. We are expecting returns from that. That's not correct. Thank you very much for giving us that little beautiful story, and I think we'll remember it, and our pranams to you, sir. I am not going to say thank you to Dr. Alvar because he has put in all the efforts to give us these 2 days of excellent exposition on the Chaturshashti Kalaha. If I say thank you, he thinks, oh, this is enough. If I don't say thank you, he'll say, it's not enough, we'll do more. And we were expecting that. And I'm sure every one of you is expecting. Every one of us is expecting many more such events to be organized by his effort. I must also remember at this time, his father, Professor Lakshmi Tatachar, who brought me into this and gave me exposure to this, but also taught me what is value in life. If some of you come and say thank you to me and say, it was nice talking to you, the thing goes to him, not to anybody else. So I would like to pay my obeisance to my Guru. Everybody says without money we cannot do anything. So is Samskrti Foundation. We need support in terms of monetary support. And several people have come forward to do this. In this particular project on Chaturshashti Kala, the National Cultural Front of the Government of India, Ministry of Culture, was grateful enough to give us a grant to run this project. And we have done this, and this event today is one of the things to show that we have done the work from the foundation. And I'm sure the secretary of the Mrs. Monica, who was here in the morning, was very impressed. She talked to me yesterday and she said, "You're really doing very good work. You have taken the money and given us much more than the money we gave you." That's the kind of thing she mentioned. So we would like to offer our gratitude to the foundation, to the culture, Ministry of Culture, but also say that from the Government of India and other governments, Government of Karnataka for example, we don't ask, we want you to give. Because if we ask, it will be limited. If you give, you can give without any limits. So we look forward to such kind of support from the government. I would like to mention again here the kind of coordination support extended to us by this great institution, ISKCON. All of you can see that there's a place where we sat very peacefully and listened to everything. And we need this kind of infrastructure. And that was provided to us by the great ISKCON Foundation. And we are very thankful to you for this, sir. Very thankful to you. I should not forget to say thank you to all of those who came on the stage and exposed their education to you, their learning to you, so that at least you could learn part of it from them. I mean, we won't be able to learn everything in one exposure like this, but it will kindle us, it will ignite us, it will give us an introduction to some of these arts, and we'll say, hey, we would also like to do something, that kind of a thing. And therefore, all of them took time off and came and gave the presentations, and we'd say simple thank you to all of them. But tell them, we look forward to having you again here when you have our next function. Many others have given us help in a variety of ways. I will not be able to mention them by name, but I'm sure all of those who have been associated with us know what we feel about them. And a very great thank you for all of them. Dr. Alvar mentioned about the audience. I want to tell him, please do not worry about the audience, because whoever is present, they are interested and they came. And you don't want somebody to come and fill up here who are not interested. Therefore, whoever is here now, all the audience, they're all interested in learning and seeing what you have done, and therefore they should be thanked. Thank you so much. Thank you very much for all of you. We have had excellent exposure for 2 days. Chatushashti Kalaha. As days go by, this Chatushashti keeps increasing. Today you've got so many other, even looking at a mobile is an art now. So the list will grow on increasing in length, but I think as we go by, we'll all keep learning and finding out how many more kalas will get added to that. Thank you very much. Thank you so much.
I would now request Professor Dwarkadasji and Dr. M.A. Alvar sir to kindly present our token of gratitude to the dignitaries on dais. May I now request Shri L. Hanumantaya sir to kindly accept this token of respect from us. Technicians on console can play some music. May I now request Shri Vasudev Keshavdasji to kindly accept our token of gratitude. Thanks on the behalf of Samskrti Foundation. request Sri S. Gopal Krishnan ji to kindly accept our token of gratitude. Thank you so much for being with us, sir.
So as I said, it is our duty to acknowledge and also pay our acknowledge our sense of gratitude to all the persons who have made this function possible, who have cooperated with us in various ways. So firstly, I would like to call the head of Purna Pramati institutions to kindly, because he has brought nearly 70 members from his organization. As soon as we mentioned to him that we are organizing it, he said, all of us, all the faculty members will please come. I request Professor Dwarka Dasaji to kindly felicitate him. Two days have passed wherein we have not only been witness, but also we have been able to hear a wonderfully conducted function. So she is a singer, she is an anchor par excellence, and also she has managed the entire program. We call her the Master of Ceremonies. So she is the Master of Masters of Ceremonies. So we request Vidushi Ranjani Kirti to kindly come here and accept our honor. And I request our President, Professor Dwarka Dasaji, to kindly felicitate him. Similarly, we have been greatly helped in all aspects by I would like to say, Karthikeyan couple, Mr. Karthikeyan Srinivasan and his wife, Vinuta. So though they have very recently joined us, they have taken interest and they have done it as a love of labor. They have not hesitated to perform any task that we have asked them. So jointly, we request you to kindly accept our honor. Kindly, I request Professor Dwarka Dasan to kindly felicitate them jointly. Similarly, I would like to acknowledge the contribution of K. Lokesh, Art Director, Samskrti Foundation. He has been very, very active, and in fact, most of the organization work has been done by him. So he has already been felicitated once. I just request him to come on stage so that we can say thank you to him. Similarly, two of our staff members who have been instrumental in all the work that we have been doing, I request Srimati Vani to kindly come on stage and accept the small token of gratitude. Give Mr. Lokesh a big hand of applause, because he has been the backbone. We have published more than 100 publications until now, including 8 volumes of Ramayana, 8 volumes of Bhagavatam, etc. And in Ramayana alone, he has authored 150 illustrations. In Bhagavatam, he has done 150. Other than that, thousands of illustrations for all our books on yoga, Ayurveda, etc. He designs the cover, and so he is the backbone in a way. So we may write the books, but without cover page, nobody will look at it. So in fact, he is the person who makes all our books attractive. Thank you very much, sir. So I request Srimati Vani to be felicitated. Similarly, another new addition to our organization is Srimati Swati. She is a Master of Social Work, and she is looking after our Melkote office, and also a very honest and sincere employee. Another very important person who takes care of the logistical requirements and any other requirements whenever we conduct a seminar is Mr. Narayan Prakash. So earlier we were colleagues in the transdisciplinary university, and with his very good organization skills, he is always at hand to help us. I request Sri Narayan Prakash to come forward and accept our honor. And we have, in the form of volunteers, 6 very important persons. One is Ms. Vidyashri, Divyashri, Padmapriya and Purvika. I request them all to kindly come forward and accept our honor. Last 2 days they have done great service in the form of being volunteers and attending to all the works that have been assigned to them. ಶ್ರೀಕಾಂತ್ ಅವ್ರು ಬರಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಕೇಳ್ಕೊ